Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our case study presentation session, Group 1. I'm Dina Ahmed Fahad. Will present about the executive summary of our case study. So let's jump onto that. In this executive summary, I will briefly present the core problem, systematic causes, and the strategic solution framework of my case study on congestion at Chittagong Port, Bangladesh's principal maritime gateway. Chattogram Port handles over 90% seaborne trade but operates near saturation of 85% to 95% utilization. This port is a critical backbone of Bangladesh export-led economy, particularly for the ready-made garment sector. Despite this strategic importance, the port is experiences chronic congestion, which has become a structural constraint rather than a temporary operational issue. This study identifies that the port is operating under severe system stress. Yard and berth utilization levels remain at 85 to 90%, far above the internationally recommended threshold of 70 to 75%. As a result, average container dwell time has increased to around 11 days, while vessel turnover time ranges between 4 to 5 days, both of which are significantly higher than global best practices. These inefficiencies directly translate into higher logistic costs, delays in export, and reduced trade competitiveness. The research categorizes the congestion problem into three interrelated bottlenecks. You can see in our second portion the key bottlenecks as their infrastructure constraints where existing berths and yards are overutilized without adequate capacity and balancing. Second, equipment and process inefficiencies characterized by aging cargo handling equipment and heavily manual customs procedures. Third, weak hinterland connectivity with excessive dependence on congested road transport and limited use of rail and inland waterways. These issues do not operate in isolation, rather, they reinforce one another, creating a fragmented port ecosystem. To address these challenges, the study evaluates several strategic interventions, including advanced terminal operating systems with predictive analytics, truck appointment systems, and gate to automation, and inland container depot integration. However, the analysis identifies the port community system or PCS as the most transformative solutions. This fourth portion, PCS, the real game changer, you can say. So the pieces function as digital coordination platform, enabling real-time data sharing among the Chattogram Port Authority, customs, shipping lines, freight forwarders, and other logistic stakeholders. Through pre-arrival processing, parallel documentation, and electronic gate pass systems, PCS significantly reduces administrative delays. Empirical evidence suggests that PCS implementation can reduce administrative delays by 20 to 40%, shorten the container dwell time from 11 days to less than 7 days, and bring vessel turnover time down to below 3 days, resulting in substantial savings in demurrage and congestion related costs. Based on these findings, the study proposes a five-stage implementation roadmap, starting with governance and regulatory alignments, followed by API-based digital integration with systems such as Asicuda and TOS, pilot testing and process re-engineering, full-scale rollout with stakeholder capacity building, and continuous performance monitoring through real-time KPI dashboards. You can see in the fifth portion of implementation and future all these things. In conclusion, I'll say that this study argues that port congestion at Chattogram port cannot be sustainably solved through physical expansion alone. Instead, a shift toward digital transformation and system wide coordination is essential. By adopting a PCS-led approach, Chattogram Port can evolve into a smart, data-driven logistic hub, fully aligned with Bangladesh's vision to 2041 and its long-term maritime competitiveness goal. Thank you for my part, and the next part of the full case study, the introduction part, will be continued by my group mate Saiful Islam Bhai. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, respected teachers and classmates. I am going to present introduction part. Chittagong Port is the principal seaport of Bangladesh and handles more than 90% of the country's international maritime trade. Bangladesh depends heavily on international trade. The efficiency of Chittagong Port directly affects economic growth, export competitiveness, and the smooth flow of imports that sustain domestic industries. Operational challenges. This slide highlights the major operational challenges faced by Chittagong Port. Despite its importance, the port suffers from chronic congestion. Ships often wait between 3 to 7 days at the outer anchorage before they can berth. In addition, container dwell time inside the terminal is very high compared to regional ports. Problem statement. This slide explains the core problem addressed in the study. Port congestion at Chattogram is caused by interconnected systematic factors rather than a simple issue. These include limited berth and yard capacity, outdated cargo handling equipment, and insufficient off-dock and inland container depot support. Furthermore, manual customs procedures and poor coordination between port authority and customs slow down clearance processes. Objectives of the study. This slide outlines the objectives of the study. The first objective is to identify key operational bottlenecks that cause high vessel turnaround time. The second objective is to recommend management focused and evidence based solutions to improve port performance. The study also aims to assess whether these solutions are feasible in a complex multi agency port environment. Finally, it seeks to develop a KPI based monitoring framework to measure performance improvements within a 1 year period. The study focuses mainly on improving operational and digital efficiency rather than large scale physical expansion. Key areas of analysis include berth productivity, yard utilization, gate operations, and hinterland logistics coordination.
Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation. Today I will be discussing the background and situation analysis of Chittagong Port, the maritime lifeline of Bangladesh. I am Fatima Tusjain, and in this presentation I will explain why port congestion is not just a port problem but a national economic challenge. So here we can see Chittagong Port is the primary maritime gateway of Bangladesh, handling more than 90% of the country's seaborne trade. And it plays a critical role in the ready-made garment sector, where raw materials are imported and finished products are exported to global markets. Beyond trade, this port is central to Vision 2041, especially as Bangladesh prepares for post-LDC graduation. Despite its importance, Chittagong Port is facing a great and serious capacity demand mismatch. This port has designed for a much lower volume of cargo, but trade growth has outpaced infrastructure expansion. As a result, vessels often arrive faster than the port can process them, creating congestion both at sea and on land. Let's compare Chittagong Port with global best practices, where we can see vessels wait 3 to 7 days at outer anchorage, whereas efficient ports like Singapore or Colombo handle vessels in under 24 hours. Container dwell time here is 5 to 7 days, while global best practice is 3 days or less. These delays cause excessive rehandling, lower berth productivity, and something known as vessel bunching, where multiple ships compete for limited berths at the same time. So the first set of First set of root causes is physical and navigational. The Cornful River's limited depth, ranging between 8.5 to 9.5 meters, that restricts vessel sizes and forces ships to operate only during specific tidal windows. And the limitation increases dependency on feeder vessels, meaning Bangladesh must rely on transshipment hubs like Colombo or Singapore, like adding time or cost. And the second major problem is operational and digitalization problem, and it's like the slow yard tractors and outdated handling equipment reduce productivity. And at the same time, customs producers remain paperwork intensive, and the absence of a port community system prevents real-time coordination. So the congestion does not stop at the port gate. Nearly 90% of the cargo depends on road transport, mainly the Dhaka to Chattogram highway. Railway and inland waterways handle less than 10% of cargo, largely due to the infrastructure and coordination gaps. And here, as we can see, the economic consequences of congestion that are severe. According to the World Bank's Logistics Performance Index 2023, Bangladesh ranks 100 out of the 139 countries particularly lagging in customs and infrastructure efficiency, as well as shipping lines impose congestion surcharges ranging from 500 to 1000 US dollars per tons equivalent per unit. So, as far as we can see, the solution may divide into many things, like the future lies in a data-driven port management, not just physical expansion. While deep sea terminals are important, process optimization is equally critical. Implementing an integrated port community system and terminal operating system can synchronize data among the port authority, customs, terminal operators, and the tracking farms, and enabling real-time coordination. With effective digitalization, and administration and delays can be reduced by 20 to 40%, and predictive analytics will improve vessel scheduling, yard utilization, and cargo flow. And ultimately, Chattogram Port can align with global standards and emerge as a regional logistic hub and supporting Bangladesh's long-term economic vision. So that's all from my side. Thank you for watching or listening. And the next part will be presented by my fellow mate Rifat. Thank you, everybody.
Good day everyone, my name is Mohammad Rifat Islam Ishraf. Today I will be presenting a critical analysis of the current three operational bottlenecks at Chittagong Port. While this port handles nearly all of Bangladesh's seaborne trade, it is currently grappling with severe congestion, driven by three critical bottlenecks: terminal infrastructure bottlenecks, equipment and process inefficiency bottlenecks, interland connectivity bottleneck. The first bottleneck is terminal infrastructure constraint. It is the most visible of our bottlenecks. For Chattogram Port, our terminal space is very limited. Currently, our container yard occupancy is hovering between 85 to 90%. This is significantly higher than the 70 to 75% required for efficient utilization. This overcrowding creates a vicious cycle where yard congestion feeds into berth congestion. Consider these figures from 2025. Vessel imbalance. We received 118 feeder vessels in a month, far exceeding our design capacity of approximately 100. The waiting game. Gearless container ships are now waiting an average of 6 to 10 days just to berth, a massive jump from optimal 1 to 3 days. Operational slowdown. Ship turnaround time has doubled to 4 to 5 days. Financial impact. These delays are not just an inconvenience, they are expensive. Demurrage costs are estimated to 10,000 to 15,000 per ship per day. For carriers and shippers, this translates to an additional 100 to $200,000 in fees every single day. Our second bottleneck is equipment and process inefficiencies. It is a major hurdle that our current state of machinery and administrative processes are very inadequate. Productivity is severely hampered by the outdated or broken equipment. Offline machineries, such as in 2025, 4 out of 9 gantry cranes were offline for refurbishment, while 4 out of 9 container scanners were non-functional. This creates an immediate backlog in import inspection and slows down ship unloading. The paper bottleneck. Unlike modern ports, we still heavily rely on manual paper-based customs processes. For example, in standard clearance takes 4 to 5 days, but due to our complex processes, any cases that involve, for example, lab testing, it can stretch to up to 20 days. And all this results in a warehouse effect. Because of these delays, the average container dwell time is 11 days. Essentially, the port has become a warehouse where cargo sits long after payment has been cleared. Finally, we have hinterland connectivity and logistics constraints bottleneck. We must look beyond the port gates for the final bottleneck. Even if the port operates perfectly, the surrounding infrastructure acts as a choke point. So, here we can say urban gridlock. Congested city roads and the lack of direct rail alternatives means that containers are stuck in traffic rather than moving to their destination. Container management crisis. We currently have over 60,000 empty container congesting 21 inland container depot or ICDs. This happens because export trucks often return empty due to import delays, wasting both space and capital. Regulatory barriers. Customs restrictions often prevent the easy transfer of containers to bonded inland warehouses. This forces most imports to be cleared on sites, further occupying critical yard space. In summary, the combined effects of these bottlenecks halves our productivity and increases waiting time by up to 45%. However, there is a silver lining. Various analyses suggest that if we can reduce the average container dwell time from 11 days to just 4 days through better hinterland processing, our port's throughput would improve by up to 60%. Addressing these three bottlenecks isn't just about port efficiency, it's about the economic health of our entire nation. Thank you. Next part of this presentation will be presented by our fellow teammate Mohana.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I am Madhya Manju Mohana, ID 2521207. So today I am going to present alternative solution for congestion management at Chittagong Port. Chittagong Port is the principal seaport of Bangladesh, handling more than 90% of the country's seaborne trade. Due to its strategic importance, this port directly affects the national economy. However, the port faces chronic congestion mainly because of terminal capacity pressure, inefficient operational processes, and weak hinterland coordination. This section focuses on alternative, realistic solutions to address these challenges. Strategic rationale for alternative solutions. Traditionally, congestion problems are addressed through physical expansion, such as building new terminals or yard. However, such expansion is capital intensive, time consuming, and resource demanding, especially for developing countries like Bangladesh. Therefore, instead of focusing on massive infrastructure growth, this study emphasizes digitalization, science based management, and process optimization within existing physical capacity. So the first alternative solution is the implementation of a port community system, or PCS. A PCS is a centralized and neutral digital platform that allows all port stakeholders such as the port authority, customs, terminal operators, shipping lines, freight forwarders, transporters, and ICDs to exchange information electronically. At Chittagong Port, the absence of such an integrated system has resulted in fragmented communication, duplicate documentation, and sequential processing. By enabling pre-arrival submission and parallel processing of documents, PCS can significantly reduce custom clearance time, container dwell time, and gate congestion. So the second alternative is the adoption of an Advanced Terminal Operating System, commonly known as TOS. A modern TOS is designed to enhance terminal level efficiency through optimized berth planning, crane assignment, yard space management, and container tracking. At Chittagong Port, yard occupancy often exceeds recommended levels, which causes excessive rehandling and operational delays. With yard optimization and predictive analytics, a TOS can identify congestion risks in advance and support better resource allocation. And this can cost untimely reducing vessel turnaround time. Then another major contributor to congestion at Chittagong Port is landside traffic congestion, mainly due to unscheduled track arrivals and manual gate procedures. This problem can be addressed through a truck appointment system combined with gate automation. Under this system, trucks must book specific time slots for container delivery or pickup, which help distribute traffic evenly throughout the day. Technologies such as radio frequency identification, optical character recognition, and electronic documentation can significantly reduce truck waiting time at port gates. However, effective implementation requires regulatory enforcement, stakeholder training, and cooperation from trucking associations. The fourth alternative solution focuses on enhancing the role of inland container depots and dry ports. ICDs help reduce congestion by shifting container storage and customs clearance activities outside the port area. Global evidence suggests that well integrated dry ports can increase gateway port throughput without expanding quay or yard capacity. For Chittagong Port, this solution requires improved rail and inland waterway connectivity as well as supportive regulatory reform. However, this alternative is more strategic and long-term in nature and depends on broader transport and policy integration. So, each alternative solution addresses congestion from a different operational perspective. Here we can see the port community system focuses on inter-agency coordination and administrative efficiency. The terminal operating system improves productivity at the terminal level, and the truck appointment system manages landside traffic flow, while ICD integration strengthens hinterland logistic. Among these, PCS and TOS offer the most immediate and data-driven impact on vessel turnaround time and yard congestion, whereas TAS and ICDs act as complementary measures. So in conclusion, congestion at Chittagong Port cannot be resolved by a single solution. An effective strategy requires a combination of digital integration, operational optimization, and coordinated governance. The integration of PCS, TOS, TAS, and ICDs provides a realistic, scale, and sustainable approach to congestion management under existing physical constraints. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Nafiza Kurimria, ID 252120001, and today I will be presenting the recommended strategic solution to address the congestion challenges at Chittagong Port. After a careful analysis of the gaps between customs, the Chittagong Port Authority and the private sector, my primary recommendation is the implementation of a port community system. Currently, while the port is upgrading its terminal operating systems, this is merely an optimization technique. It does not solve the lack of coordination. Please look at the diagram on the screen. The PCS serves as a central digital brain. It connects the exporter, importer, customs, freight forwarders, and the port authority into a single unified ecosystem. Instead of paper shuffling between these isolated parties, the PCS allows for secure data exchange. This integration is the core requirement to solve the congestion problem. So, why is the PCS the best strategic choice? I have justified this through two key areas. First, unleashing yard capacity. Currently, yard occupancy is between 85% to 90%, which drastically reduces crane productivity. The root cause here is the high container dwell time of 11 days. By using the PCS to process documents before the ship arrives, we can reduce this dwell time to 7 days. This reduction effectively expands the actual yard capacity by nearly 36%. We are essentially creating more space without building building new infrastructure. Second, high economic viability. Unlike dredging or constructing new materials, which are expensive and time consuming, a PCS is a low infrastructure and high return investment. It directly saves the national economy hundreds of thousands of dollars daily by eliminating hidden logistics costs like demurrage. And what are the expected outcomes? These systems works by integrating CPA servers directly with Asaikuda World used by customs. This enables pre-arrival processing, meaning a vessel can be largely cleared by customs before it even anchors. However, implementing this system in an environment like Chattogram is complex. We have identified two major risks and the key performance indicators to track our success. Risk 1, stakeholder resistance. We anticipate resistance from some customs officials or CNF agents who may fear that increased transparency will expose corrupt practices. To solve this, the CPA must adopt a change management strategy, positioning the system as a tool for ease of doing business rather than just a monitoring tool. Risk 2, technical interoperability. Legacy systems like Asaikuda often struggles to sync with new software. We will use an API first architecture and electronic data interchange solutions that map directly to existing protocols, ensuring seamless communications. Finally, our KPI is for year one. How do we define success? We have set three aggressive targets. Target 1, reduce container dwell time from 11 days to under 7 days. Number 2, cut vessel turnaround time from 4 to 5 days to under 3 days. And number 3, achieve an 85% adoption rate for digital gate passes. In conclusion, the port community system is not just a software upgrade, it is the necessary digital infrastructure to bottleneck Chittagong Port and secure its future efficiency. That's all from my side. Thank you so much for your patience listening. Now I would like to call my next teammate, Nidhi.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Tasmia Faiza Ibnat, ID 252120004, and I'll be presenting the implementation plan of the proposed port congestion reduction at Chittagong Port. This section focuses on how the recommended solution can be translated from strategy into practice through a phased, structured, and institutionally aligned implementation approach. The roadmap is designed specifically for a multi-agency port environment and emphasizes governance, system integration, stakeholders coordination, and data-driven congestion reduction. The implementation follows a five-phase roadmap to ensure gradual adoption and operational stability. These phases include institutional setup, system design, port implementation, full-scale rollout, and continuous performance optimization. This phased approach minimizes operational disruption while allowing stakeholders to adapt to new digital processes in a controlled and measurable manner. The first phase establishes the institutional foundation necessary for the implementation. The Chattogram Port Authority will act as the lead implementing authority supported by multi-stational stakeholders steering committee. This committee will include representatives from customs, terminal operators, shipping lines, and logistics stakeholders, ensuring their agency coordination. A legal and regulatory framework will also be developed to mandate digital data submission, define data ownership, and ensure compliance across all users. The phase 2 focuses on the technical architecture and integration of the system. The system will follow an API first and modular design, enabling seamless integration with existing platforms such as Terminal Operating System and Customs using RCQD World. Rather than replacing existing system, the system will function as a centralized data integration layer. International data standards such as the EDI and UN CFAX will be adopted to ensure interoperability, scalability, and long-term sustainability. As the operational levels, the system will enable several critical digital functions. These include the pre-arrival submission of vessels and cargo data, digital customs declarations with risk assessment, and real-time berth planning visibility. The system will also generate electronic gate passes and authorize container transfers to inland container depots. Collectively, these features reduce paperwork, administrative delays, and physical congestion within the port. The Phase 3 involves pilot implementation at selected terminals with a limited group of shipping lines and importers. The objective is to test systems interoperability, operational reliability, and stakeholders' responsiveness under real conditions. Simultaneously, existing workflows will be re-engineered to shift from sequential paper-based procedures to parallel pre-arrival digital processing. Low-risk cargoes will undergo customs clearance before vessel arrival, significantly reducing container dwell time. Following a successful pilot phase, the system will be rolled out across all terminals and port users. Digital documentation will become mandatory, and manual processes will be gradually phased out. Comprehensive training programs will be conducted for custom officials, port staffs, freight forwarders, and truck operators to ensure effective system adoption. Change management is critical at this stage to address resistance and build confidence among the stakeholders. The final phase focuses on continuous monitoring and optimization. The system performance dashboard will be established at the CPA to track key indicators such as container dwell time, vessel turnaround time, and electronic gate pass usage. The quarterly performance reviews will allow data-driven decision-making and early identification of congestion risk. Over time, the vessel or the system can be expanded to integrate truck appointment systems and hinterland logistic platforms. The implementation timeline illustrates the sequential progression of the 5 phases over a definite period. The stage timeline ensures that the institutional readiness, technical integration, and stakeholders' capacity develop in parallel, where the first 3 weeks are taken in Phase 1 and the 4th to 8th week in Phase 2, 9 to 12 in Phase 3, and the longest period of time taken in Phase 4, that is from 13 to 18, and then starts the Phase 5, which is the monitoring part that starts from the 19th, and this is a continuous phase that is to be achieved within time. Such alignment is necessary to achieve sustainable operational efficiency rather than short-term congestion relief. To conclude, the implementation roadmap demonstrates that the proposed port community system is not only technologically feasible but also institutionally viable within Chittagong Port's multi-agency environment. With this, I now hand over to the next presenter, Mohammad Saiful Islam, who will discuss the next topic. Thank you.
I am going to present the conclusion part. This slide presents the main findings of the study. The analysis shows that congestion at Chittagong Port persists despite gradual infrastructure upgrades. This indicates that congestion is not purely a capacity issue. Instead, it is a systematic problem rooted in fragmented operational processes, weak interagency coordination, and limited use of digital systems across port stakeholders. The implementation of a port community system is identified as the most effective solution. Port community system enables pre-arrival processing, real-time data sharing, and parallel documentation among all port stakeholders. By improving information flow and coordination, port community system can significantly reduce container dwell time, vessel turnaround time, and overall logistic costs without immediate physical expansion. A phased implementation approach supported by clearly defined KPI is essential for monitoring progress. Overall, these reforms will support Vision 2041 by enhancing export competitiveness and transforming Chattogram port into a modern, data driven logistics hub. Thank you.